You suck at cooking, yeah, you totally suck.
Instant ramen noodles were invented by Momofuku Ando in 1958 in his shed. Since then, dozens of packets of instant ramen have been consumed every year throughout the world. For this modded ramen, we're gonna start by adding an egg to already gently boiling water. Some people think boiling water will cause the egg to crack, but that actually only happens if the water is overly angry. Boil the egg for 6 minutes, then put it inside an ice bath to increase the egg's endorphins. Then, after 10 to 15 minutes, we'll use the power of kinetic vibration to loosen the shell and peel it off. We're boiling water and we only want to cook these noods for around a minute, then we can drain them and let them sit there and think about what they've done. Don't let the egg see how hot the noodles are or it might get jealous. In a saucepan, we're gonna add some butter, some milk, and the seasoning pack. Make sure you don't accidentally have your heat turned up to 11. Medium-low is good. Then the noods can go in there and soak up that sauce while it thickens like a stringy edible sponge. And you know what they say, when the sauce starts to thicken in, it's time to get interested in possibly eating it because it's ready to eat. Then we're gonna add the noods to our bowl and top with a slice of extremely melty cheese. Then we'll fold the noods over to create a cheese furnace so that it melts and becomes part of the sauce. We'll throw on a drizzle of chili oil, a smattering of scallions, then the egg can go on top. And I also modified this bowl so that you can more easily manage your utensils by sticking them to the side with the power of magnets, even though nobody knows how they work and whether or not they're bad for your skin. And if you have trouble gripping an egg with chopsticks, I modified these ones to more easily pick up the egg and also to more easily add injuries to the lips and or mouth region of the face. Ow, that's so good. Here's a couple simple things you can add to almost any ramen to make it way better. The first is sesame oil, made from sesame seeds, which come from the sesame tree. The next is chili crisp, which comes from the Chilequiles region of Guizhou province in China. And if you are not on the chili crisp train yet, I highly suggest you get chugging. And the next is crispy shallots, which are made from soggy shallots, which we'll slice very thinly, then sprinkle on some salt. Then after a few minutes, remove the excess moisture. Then we're putting them in this peanut oil, which is on medium-low. And we'll cook them until all of that moisture bubbles away. Once they stop bubbling, they're done and you can dry them out. Then the real challenge is not immediately stuffing them all into your face. For this next recipe, I'm gonna chop up some ginger and some scallions, then get those into a pan with some neutral oil. If you have a serious scallion problem, you can chop up a concerning amount of scallions, then put them in an airtight container in your molecule slower downer. That way you can add them to your ramen, your toast, your ice cream, or your wrist anytime you're having a scallion attack. We'll saute the ginger and these scallions for a couple minutes on medium heat. And make sure you don't accidentally add rapscallions because they always ruin the vibe. Now we'll add some sesame oil and around 1/3 of the flavoring pack so that it doesn't eclipse the ginger scallion sesame sauce. We'll cook the noodles for a minute and then drain them and throw them in the pan. Now add them to a bowl and then realize the bowl is too big and move them to a different bowl with all of that oily sauce, which is gonna lubricate your entire body. Then hit that with some chili crisp and some crispy shallots, and we're talking about a multi-dimensional flavor experience you might not ever fully recover from, so be careful. This is also a great ramen to use my patent-pending precision chopsticks, so that you can enjoy a bite of scallion, chili crisp, crispy shallot, or an individual noodle at a slow and relaxing pace. On the other hand, you can use my 90-degree chopsticks if you prefer to eat the entire bowl in one bite. If you're concerned about how many calories there are in ramen, simply eat it with drumsticks, which makes the portion look smaller and tricks your brain into processing fewer calories. I'm so clumsy. This last ramen has very simple mods that involve cooking the noodles, draining off most but not all of the water, crack an egg straight in there, then wang jangle it, add in some butter and wang jangle that, and then add the seasoning pack and some garlic powder, and finally do some wang jangling. We'll sprinkle some scallions on top of that, and if you have a hard time lifting as many noodles as you want, you could try my fork chops, which have heavy-duty noodle lifting power. But if the long prongs scare you, then you can try my miniature spork chops instead, which have moderate but reliable noodle clampability. And if you find the noodles are just too long and heavy, I modified these chopsticks to allow you to cut the noodles down into smaller bites. I call them chopsticks. If you enjoy slurping your noodles but leaning down to the bowl makes you feel like a beta, I invented this ramen lift to help adjust the height of the bowl to perfect slurping altitude. You can also control the angle of the bowl to easily access any specific noodle. This is powered by an 18 GHz 4-train induction motor with fly train suspension and Triforce thrusters. stirs, and definitely isn't just my friend moving a pole up and down, because Devin isn't my friend. Whoa, how did America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service Factor get in my house with their nutritious, flavorful meals that are chef prepared? Looks like I'm skipping the meal prepping, the planning, the grocery shopping, the chopping, the cleaning, the arguments with Devin, and I'm gonna have fresh, never frozen meals that are ready to eat in just a couple minutes. I'm not actually in the microwave while it's running, I'm just doing that with my hand. Also, you can plate it, then give it to someone and be like, oh, I just made you this delicious meal from scratch, I hope you enjoy it, I'm a liar. The holidays are super busy, so you can save time with Factor's nutritious options, including their smoothies and juices. Factor's now owned by HelloFresh, which I like when I want to cook, but Factor's great when I want to do as close to literally nothing as possible, which is most of the time. I am lazy. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code YouSuck50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's factor75.com or click the link below and use code YouSuck50 to get 50% off your first Factor box.